The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello, and welcome to the Hoop Ball DFS Today podcast. I am your host, Mike Apatra. I'm running solo, flying the plane solo on this one for this Sunday, October 4th card. Had some technical difficulties last night, so you guys are going to be getting this podcast early in the morning. On the positives, the glass half full approach, it's a little bit of a later. We got some news and some changes going on. Not so much news for player-wise, but we had some lines change, so we get to get that information out a little bit later. But we do apologize for those who were trying to listen in a little bit earlier. So before we jump into anything, I just want to give a quick shout out to our presenting sponsors, ExpressVPN. You guys probably heard of me talk about this company several times. Is because they're near and dear to our heart. You heard Santino give his mention how he used them when he was overseas several years ago. So this isn't just an ad read. This is the truth. ExpressVPN really is the best VPN out there. And if you're sitting there and you're wondering what is a VPN, what a VPN does, it allows you to change your IP address. It actually hides your IP address. You could change it to over 100 different countries and allows you to tune in and watch the Netflix, Hulu, BBC, iPlayer, YouTube, sporting events, you name it, from other countries. And I don't know about you guys. I run out of shows on Netflix, and now that I have 100 different countries to switch to, that is insane to me. So if you love anime, you can switch it to Japanese Netflix. If you're, I've been talking about Master Chef Australia, and I'm still watching it. I switch it to Australia. I go on Netflix, and boom. So check out ExpressVPN, guys. It's also compatible with all your devices, phones, media consoles, smart TVs. And if you're wondering what makes ExpressVPN different from any other VPN, there is literally no buffering. It's ridiculously fast, and there's absolutely no lag. So, and you can stream it in HD. So there's just so many positives compared to anyone. If you go over to expressvpn.com/hoopball and sign up, you get an extra 3 months for free. So go check them out, guys. expressvpn.com/hoopball. And then we'll just jump right into this. I mean, I mentioned it. I actually did probably about 80% of this podcast last night, and then the technical difficulties arose. So we just decided to do it in the morning rather than try again, and same thing happened. But the line has changed since last night. Now this game's coming into a 219 game total. Last night, I believe it was a 217. It was an 8-point spread last night. Now it's coming in at a 9.5. So generally, we see the lines move a little bit like that. It's indicative of what Vegas thinks is going to happen. So last night, and it's kind of the same situation right now for the Miami Heat. Goran Dragic and Bam Adebayo are both being considered doubtful. Bam and Goran are really, really lobbying to play. They want to play. They're trying to get on the court. From the reports that are coming out right now, it seems indicative that Bam, if either, is the more likely to play. And that was the case last night. So now that we're seeing the line shift an extra 1.5, that might be kind of Vegas saying that they don't think Bam's going to play. We'll have to wait and see on this one. I think Goran, the plantar fasciitis, if he plays, regardless, we're not touching him with that kind of injury. That is a severely painful injury. It's not one that's easy to play through. It's going to mean he's going to be playing in very, very short stints. And wouldn't be even seeing close to his normal allotment of minutes, regardless, and not going to be nearly as effective. So, with all this being said, I guess I'll just start off with this Miami Heat team. So, the approach I'm taking in it, I wouldn't be shocked if Bam plays. I don't think he is. It's not just the neck. It's not just the wrist. It's his shoulder as well. That's actually what he's being listed on the injury report for. So he's dealing with a lot of injuries right now. He's playing really battered and bruised. So it's going to be a tough game for him regardless. Obviously, it would still be even a 40% Bam's probably going to be an improvement to their lineup against this three big core that they have. And now the new big is Markieff Morris, not even JaVale McGee anymore. So I'm going to keep playing Jimmy Butler. I'll play Tyler Herro. Both these guys are just absolute studs. The usage is going to be off the wall. They're going to have to take a ton of shots. We saw Herro's minutes even increase from where it was prior. I mean, this guy was playing and getting it done, playing 29, 35, 34 minutes. Now we saw him play 43. So that just absolutely elevated the ceiling to the point that what we needed to see. And now we can trust him even a little bit more. The price tag's right around where it was last time. He's 8,400 as a utility player. And then he's coming in at 12,600 as your captain. So I'm a fan because, we still do have some value. Obviously, the value increased of playing a guy like Tyler Herro in my captain spot. I don't mind looking at him in that. I think he's going to play big minutes regardless. I'm already going to get to the LA guys and say my piece on him, and I'm going to continue riding the train of just playing both of them. So we're going to have some value, though. We still have some value with Kelly Olynyk if we do see that Bam Adebayo is ruled out. Even if he's ruled in, we could play Kelly O, and at that point it becomes even a better play in my opinion, just because people are going to hop off. Low ownership is a key. I mean, I would be surprised if Bam can play that full workload if he's this close to doubtful and he ends up suiting up. He's another guy that we can easily get some value from. Obviously, his price tag increased slightly, but we know we're getting about high 20s to low 30 minutes from him. You could pretty much bang that home. There's no doubt about it. So we still have some value where you could play a Tyler Herro, a Jimmy Butler, even a Davis. We got away with Davis in the captain spot in that last game. And still feel comfortable with your lineup, as opposed to some of these other nights where I'm very, very prone to just playing somebody that I know has a high ceiling but is fairly cheap in my captain spot, and then just getting exposure to as many studs as possible. So there, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Herro, both of them more than in play. Jay Crowder, next guy coming in. I don't mind Jay Crowder. It's tough because I think I would just rather play Kelly O or Kendrick Nunn for cheaper. I think they have very, very similar ceilings to Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder's floor is definitely a little bit safer, but if these guys are playing 29, 30-something minutes, I'm cool with that. That's Jay Crowder could play a little bit more than that, but he's also got the toughest matchup on the court. So there's a lot of reasons why I just don't want to play him, but at the same time, I'm not going to tell you not to. He's pretty safe for cash games, I guess. So if you want to look that way. Duncan Robinson's another guy. He really struggled with his three-point shot in that last one. This is going to be a tough series for him. I don't mind looking at him in tournaments if, I don't expect his ownership to be all that high. People are going to check the box scores. We do know what it takes for Duncan Robinson to have those games, and it's in his utility belt. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the league. If he's hitting those shots on an elite clip, which sometimes these guys are just feeling it, he's going to be a great play. The problem is he's got two tough defenders that are going to be chasing him around, and we just don't know when that night's going to be. So, if you want to keep him as like a dart throw, sure. Otherwise, I wouldn't be getting much exposure in cash games to him. I probably won't even have that much exposure in tournaments, but I could see playing him here and there. The other guy I'd probably rather play is Andre Iguodala. I was on him last game. I didn't get the reward I was kind of looking for, but he did everything right. That's the thing. He played just mid-20s minutes, played 26 minutes. He hit all of his shot attempts. He was 3 for 3 from the floor, hit a three. Just didn't get any defensive stats, no blocks, no steals, only had 7 points, 2 boards, 1 assist. But the 26 minutes is intriguing and it's encouraging. And with Goran Dragic looking like he's going to be sitting out again, I mentioned it in the last podcast. This Heat team's going to need ball handlers. And Tyler Herro, Jimmy Butler, we saw Jimmy Butler facilitating in the first half and pretty much throughout the entire game, ended up finishing with 13 assists. So we're going to see Jimmy with the ball in his hands. We're going to see Herro with the ball in his hands. And then, after that, it's going to be a little Kendrick Nunn and Iguodala. They still need somebody for the second unit. So I don't mind taking a look at Andre Iguodala if you're looking for just, like a little bit of a cheap dart throw. Probably still prefer Kelly Olynyk if, soup to nuts when you're just looking at it. If Bam Adebayo's out, he's just going to have to play big minutes and a little bit of a higher ceiling. But a little bit of a differentiator. And that's probably it for me. I'm not going to be playing Myers Leonard even if he starts. I just don't see the minutes. I mean, keep in mind this guy has basically been out of the rotation up until that last game, and under 10 minutes isn't enough to get it done for me. I'm just going to continue playing Kelly O over him. So that's it. I'll do a quick run through through Miami again. Jimmy Butler, Tyler Herro. I think both these guys excellent plays. Unless you're game scripting it to the point where you're going to be getting a lot of Miami and maybe just one of these Lakers stars, which I don't recommend. It's going to be tough to get both those guys in. Soup to nuts, obviously, I think I prefer Jimmy, just especially now that he's taken that facilitator role. But Tyler Herro with the savings, 2,100, makes a lot of sense as well. Probably won't be playing too much Jay Crowder. I won't be playing too much Duncan Robinson. I will have shares of Kendrick Nunn and Kelly O, and then a little bit of Andre Iguodala. Sliding over to the Laker game before we jump into them, just a quick shout out to our other sponsor, MyBookie. Check these guys out if you like to gamble, if you like to put a little wagers on the game. I tell you guys, I'm a big parlay guy because I'm not good at just guessing one game. I go big or go home. I'm either going to have a lucky day and I'm going to hit, an 18 parlay, or I'm not hitting anything at all. So check them out. Use that promo code HOOPBALL, HOOPBALL, get 100% deposit match, guys. That is free money. And if you might have missed the boat on the last one, I'm sure they have another one coming up relatively soon. My bookies basically just throws money at us, guys. They do free money giveaways pretty much. It's some of these crazy. I think on opening night for football, it was like the Chiefs getting 55 points. Just hammer that. They give you a little $25 max bet, but it's a free $25. They're awesome, guys. They have an awesome response team over there. If you have any questions, needs, or concerns, they handle it. So go check out my bookie, promo code HoopBall. We'll slide over to this Laker team. Yeah, and it's tough. It's tough. A lot of the wins gotten taken out of the sales of this entire series once we saw Miami had these devastating injuries to two core players of theirs that have just been grinding throughout this bubble. But we still have to continue. And with that, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, both of them are absolutely fantastic plays. I'm going to have shares for both of them. It's going to be tough to get them in the captain spot. Now that we're seeing them, get priced up even more, and some of these other guys from Miami getting priced up. We were able to get away with it in that last one. But how do you not just continue playing both of them? I mean, they both have the highest ceilings, in my opinion, the safest floors at the same time. We have the money to spend with some of the value. Which one do I prefer? It doesn't matter because, like I said, I don't think I'm going to probably end up getting either one of them in the captain spot. I'll probably have maybe one or two lineups where I try to get maybe, I prefer LeBron, but it's even tougher. You might be able to squeeze Davis in a couple of lineups and still feel good about them. Rondo, touched on him on the last podcast. Probably the only other guy I feel fairly confident in on this Laker team to produce night in and night out and not be considered just like a GPP play. He came out and put up a heck of a performance in that last one. Really rewarded people. Only played 26 minutes, so it feels tough chasing it, but it's a good matchup for him, especially with Dragic out. 16 points, 10 assists, 4 boards in that last one. It's going to be tough when Kendrick Nunn's on him. You're talking about a young guy who hasn't really played in several months because he was basically out of the rotation as well with Myers Leonard up until the injury. So, Rondo's not necessarily crazy athletic anymore. He's not the shooter or scorer, even though he's basically shooting at a Steph Curry elite clip right now from the three-point land. But he has a lot of ways and a lot of tricks in his bag that a young guy, it's tough for them to keep up with him, especially when you're talking about for long stretches in playoffs. So he should be able to continue to take advantage of it. I don't mind looking at him. Like I said about Caldwell Pope and Danny Green, these guys just continue to be dart throws. Caldwell Pope feels like the safer guy, and he's priced up. Feels like the minutes are a little bit more secure. He's shot 14 times in that last one. I don't know if we're going to see that again. I would be surprised if we do. Danny Green's generally the guy that we can get the defensive stats. So if I had to pick one, I'm probably leaning more towards Pope, but I don't feel comfortable about it. It's probably just going to be a back and forth game. Not touching Kyle Kuzma. Probably off the Dwight Howard train. I get it if you want to play him, if for the low ownership and everything like that. In cash games, you're just going to go straight to Kelly O if Bam's out and not even think about it. Even if Bam's in, I'm probably still going to go towards Kelly O. I still expect Kelly O to play, low 20s minutes or high teens minutes, even if Bam does play. So I'm cool with that. I'm probably not going to have too many shares. If anything, I'd rather play Markieff Morris. He's kind of the guy that I think if, you could say the pivot to Dwight Howard from Kelly O for savings. But if that's the case, go with the pivot to Markieff Morris. You get lower ownership and even more savings. I think both these guys have very similar floors and ceilings. I think we've seen Dwight Howard's ceiling a little bit more, and we probably have a better chance of seeing it. But if you're talking about game gets out of hand, any of those factors come into play, it's going to be Markieff that ends up playing minutes in the high teens. So I'll take a couple stabs at him just at my GPPs as dart throws. So recap this Lakers team real quick for you guys. It's going to be LeBron, Davis, obvious, playing him everywhere, 100%, no doubt about it. I'll have some shares of Rondo, maybe one or two shares of Caldwell Pope and Danny Green. I don't love them too much. And then I'll go down. Actually, I might even prefer Caruso over those guys. Just if I'm looking from an ownership standpoint, obviously, guys, we have to differentiate ourselves in one way or another. And, maybe going out there and rolling out a lineup that has like a Caruso and a Markieff Morris. This game gets out of hand, and then boom, you're sitting there with two guys that no one else has for some real good savings. I don't know. That sounds ugly, though, especially with that value on the Heat. I don't know if I'd recommend that too much. But those are some guys you could look at in those kind of scenarios. And then, like I said, Markieff Morris. Not playing JR, not really playing too much Dwight Howard, not playing Kuzma. And that is it. So relatively quick podcast, guys. Only about 15 minutes, flying solo on it. So if you have a chance, if you want to go give me a follow on Twitter, you can find me at Mike Apotria, MikeApotria. Go give Hoopball some love. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, all over the place. Really appreciate it, guys. Thumbs up, 5 stars, all that stuff means the world to us. We love seeing it. We check it every day. It allows us to get better also. We see, positive compliments. We continue doing things that you guys like to hear. If we see some, ones that are still 5-star and wonderful, but hey, maybe a little constructive criticism, we'll take that too. It all means the world. It allows us to continue and keep this stuff in front of the paywall. So that is all we have for you guys. We will not be having a pod because of the day off. So the next time you guys will be hearing us, we'll be recording it on Monday night, and then it'll be for the Tuesday game. So thank you guys for listening. From everybody here over at Hoopball, let's take down some GPPs and sail off in the sunset with a bag full of cash.
This has been a Hoopball presentation.